Hey guys, hey, thanks for stopping in and taking a look at the video today. Today I'm working on a commission for, believe it or not, Paula Deen's recipe for sweet potato biscuits. Got contacted by a collector of mine who asked the crazy question she thought, which was, hey, do you think it's crazy that I would like to get a painting of Paula Deen's sweet potato biscuits? And just so happens I had a few months earlier walked into the kitchen and my wife had made some biscuits, not Paula Deen's, but just regular biscuits, and the sunlight was hitting them on the baking sheet, and I actually started taking pictures of them. So I could tell the client, no, I don't think it's weird at all. So she asked me if I would do a painting of Paula Deen's sweet potato biscuits, which is a family favorite of her family. So I asked her to get back to me, and if she wouldn't mind, take a picture of some of the biscuits that she had made and give me a size reference for them. And a few weeks later, she had made the biscuits for her family and sent me a picture. So I made some for my own and of my own and set them up in a still life. So here you can see I'm laying in just a wash of colors to establish some shadow patterns and pattern of the little honey bear. The way the honey bear came into this thing was I had asked the client how she liked to eat them, and she says her family just loves them with honey. And so she didn't ask me to put the honey bear in, but I thought that made everybody understands that if they see the honey bear, there's honey involved, as opposed to just having a dish of something there. So that's how the honey bear made its entry. And then the coffee cup just kind of filled out the whole vignette of having breakfast with these biscuits and honey. So some pretty iconic images here. You've seen me kind of fooling around with the ellipse there on top of the coffee cup and also the plate itself. I'd laid out a little grid pattern to help me, and then ended up doing some diagonals as well, just to try to make sure all my proportions were correct. So I'm laying this thing out in a couple of different colors, but the really just to get the shadow patterns, had mixed it with some odorless mineral spirits. So here I'm laying in the biscuits. They look kind of orangey. Fortunately, you know that the sweet potato biscuits are a little too orange for regular biscuits. And oh, by the way, they were delicious. We ate the art, so they were good. The dark blue plate, I actually chose that because of the contrast of complementaries between these orange biscuits and that dark blue. I think it really pops them off the plate there. The honey bear itself was a lot of fun to paint. You may have one in your own pantry, but pretty iconic and a lot of fun. Hey, if you're enjoying the video or you like this type of format where you can see the entire painting being completed, how about hitting that subscribe button or give me a thumbs up, the like there. It kind of lets me know what you like to see. I'm going to be doing some other videos coming up in the following weeks that are not me painting, but giving you some other ideas for some things about painting. So I appreciate the feedback, and by all means, forward these things if you think someone else would enjoy them. Now, if you look at the honey bear, you can see that kind of greenish color on the chest of the bear. That's actually a reflection that's coming off the plate. So it takes that golden portion of the honey, and then just the reflection of that blue plate creates that green hue to things. When you're painting these type things, if you said to yourself, hey, I think I'm going to paint a honey bear, and you keep that in mind, it's probably not going to turn out looking the way you think it's going to look. In this case, when I was painting, I tried really hard just to look at value and shapes and color notes, and just paint what I saw as opposed to think about what you're painting. And this, you'll hear it over and over again, is to paint what you see, not what you know. And it's because if I tried to do this thinking about I was doing a honey bear, it wouldn't have turned out, I think, as well as it did. especially when you get into the face and there's reflections and shadows, and even the shadow of the honey itself in the bear. So yeah, the top on these are a lot of fun. It's got a distinctive shape to that pops open to release the honey. Finally going to get around to maybe drop in a couple of eyes here. There's a lot of reflections on the plastic, and then there's shadow that's created in the honey bear itself. These are all oil paints, painted alla prima, which is kind of all at once, so I don't paint in layers necessarily. I get to a certain point here in the day, and then I'll stop, and I had a mishap. I'll tell you a little bit. In fact, look around that honey bear's head. The cap there, I went in for the night, came back out the next day, and a lizard had come into the studio and crawled on the painting while it was on the easel, and you'll see the little scratches appear in one of these pretty soon. Now the still life was laying on a tea towel, so it's a white tea towel and has a border of that blue, so that's that little light blue. It's a reference to, there's the scratches all around the cap. See them there? That's all from a lizard crawling on my painting. So now I've got a story. But it's set up on a tea towel, and so that blue little shape you see over in the bottom left, and then it's going to be heading up to the tea towel. That's all part of the color of the tea towel. Sorry about, I got to figure out this whole videoing thing about how to video a painting. I wanted to make the painting kind of square on to the camera, but then someone keeps sticking their head in the way, and just a hog for attention, I think. I enjoy doing the coffee cup. You probably are going to see me, if you haven't already noticed, me playing around with that ellipse around the lip of the coffee cup. And especially this handle, how that handle mates up with the coffee cup. I go at it several times before I'm satisfied with the way it turns out. But when all was said and done, I was really happy with the coffee cup. And the biscuits are looking a little plain right now, but we're going to get to them in a second here and start pumping them up. There's a lot of nooks and crannies in those biscuits. And there were great nooks and crannies later on in the day when I got to put butter in my own honey with them. So they didn't survive much past the painting. All right, get your head out of the way here, fella. It'll clear up in a minute. And a little tip, I tried really hard. I didn't use white until the very end. If it's a white coffee cup. If you paint with white, then you lose your ability to have any highlights as well. So I reserve my whites, and the black you see in the back, that's not actually black. I don't care to use black. Actually, I mix a very, very dark color, which is actually, I use ultramarine blue and some burnt umber and mix it and get a dark. I just not real satisfied with the blacks that come out of the tube. I kind of feel like they overpower a painting sometimes, and so I like the subtleness of the blacks or the darks that I can get with mixing mine. I'm not a slave to it. You'll hear some art people talk about, how they like have a rule against no blacks. Hey, if someone wants to put black on their on their palette, go for it. I just haven't enjoyed the things that have happened when I've used it. I did use it recently, though. For one thing, I was doing a black and white painting, and there were some darks that I wanted to achieve, and I really I used a black out of the tube, ivory black, and it worked out well. But you got to protect your blacks when you're going black. Really need to protect them. I think you're about to see me bobble up here on the right hand side. I think I'm about to clean little edge there. Then I'm going to dab it with some paint. I just use there you go. Nice mistake, buddy. Then I just use the palette knife, scrape it off. I think early on when I started painting, I was afraid to scrape or wipe or anything else, but after a while, it's just part of the process. And I think things even turn out even better when you can scrape them back or wipe them off and go back into them. It's just the subtleties of paint that really, I think, make the paintings even better, even more alive. They don't look so stiff. So once again, now you see the reflections going in. Yep, and some darks right where that biscuit meets the plate, and then some highlights. Highlights really kind of bring the things to life. You'll see I essentially, when I get done with the painting, I'll show it for a little bit, but I look at it a couple of days, but I didn't actually record signing the painting or anything like that. It's all shipped out now, so hope you like it, and I'll come back and close up with this in just a second. So finishing up just a little touch in the background, and I think that'll do it.